Hello there, this is me, Darkcast93, and this is a Pretty Rhythm Rainbow Live episode 19 review. So, this episode was about Ito. Yes, I said it, it's an episode about Ito, which, to be honest, hasn't really been a rare occurrence in this series for some reason. I don't know why. But hey, here we go. Episode starts off with what we saw before in the last episode with Ito and Koji. Basically, what happens is Koji comes in, gives the song to Hiro, and basically he does Pride. Of course. But what happens the next day, I guess, is Naru's wondering what's happening with Ito. What happens is then we see Ito inside of her, what is it? I believe it's studio. Not really sure how to say it. House, studio, certain apartment. But what happens is she's talking to her father. Like, her father asks her, oh yeah, you haven't been going to the Prism Stone lately, have you? She's like, haven't felt like it. He then says, as sort of a remark to that, that money's tight. That money's tight for that month, for the rent. And she's like, oh yeah, why don't you play the guitar again? I mean, you're good enough. I mean, it's been a long time since you've done it. And also, if you do it, maybe mom will come back. But he's like, shut up, don't even talk about that. And Ito walks away. The next day, we see Ito, we see Naru on performing. And basically, then Ito comes back. Like, she comes back in, I guess she hasn't been there for a couple days. And Naru's like, oh yeah, we can now practice for the Heartbreak Days. Yay. Like, you know? And An's like, oh yeah, go warm up your legs, Ito. Go ahead. Go warm up. And when Ito gets on the stage and starts dancing and is about to perform Prism Live, she's shocked about something and can't perform the Prism Live. Then the whole episode goes into basically, which I don't think most people like this territory, but Ito x Koji territory. We see various moments in the episode with, we see Ito, she's reflecting on her past most of the time. She goes to the store to see the guitar, she looks at it, and then we have this whole entire sequence where she's thinking about her father. No, she's thinking about how the family was all together before, and her father used to own the guitar, and the name of the band would have been Crossroads. Her little brother, which isn't Koji, by the way, name's Yu, but Koji, Yu would have been, like, a part of it. Her mother, who awfully sounds like Ira, her father, and then Ito would have been the one doing Prism shows, and it would have been called Crossroads. Now, basically, we then see Koji comes into the store after the flashbacks. Ito takes Rine, who is with her, and hides him back. Koji's like, oh yeah, like, something's wrong with my straps. The store owner says, yeah, you've been playing it rough lately. Why is that? Koji's like, nothing. Rina comes out, asks him if he likes penguins. Then Ito comes out, but she gives the guitar back and walks away. Koji then notices the stars for some reason. He says those stars, but doesn't develop on it anymore. Then as Ito and Rina are walking away, Koji says, oh yeah, I never meant that to happen. I never wanted that for you to experience that. Like, I wanted you to understand what happened. Ito's like, it's too late for explanations, but Rina holds Ito back, and she's like, let me go, but she doesn't. And then we get another flashback. This episode wasn't too full of them, but hey, it's for story, right? I love myself some story episodes. But Koji then explains the incident with Hiro, which everyone's been wondering about, which I was sort of wondering about. Basically, they were going to have a duo debut, Koji x Hiro. Hiro x Koji, sorry about that. And the song was supposed to be Pride. Koji was the one that wrote it, but Hiro takes all the credit. In the back room, Koji asks, why did you take credit for it? Hiro says that the higher-ups told him that if they said he was the one to write it and compose it, then the sales would go higher than it would if Koji did it. Koji then says, like, seriously, would you lie for it? He was like, yeah, of course I would lie for it. I would do anything for this chance. And he was like, unless you want to risk the cancellation of his debut, which ends up happening. The debut gets canceled. Hero leaves, and then, well, you know what happens after? Hero then gets up into the ranks of the upper echelon of Edo Rose and is able to perform his debut at Dear Crown with pride. So, yay. Then after that, we get a sort of moment where Ito doesn't believe Koji, calls Hiro. Hiro's like, oh yeah, what is it, Ito-chan? Ito then asks the question, like, did you really want to use my song? And Hiro's like, oh yeah, why are you asking this? And she's like, Koji-san. He was like, oh, of course he would know. Like, basically confirming that, yeah, he didn't want to use your song at all. Hiro's basically avoiding it by saying, oh, I have to go back to, I'm just out of rehearsal for a little bit, taking a break. Then Koji says, oh yeah, the reason I did it was I didn't want your song being sung by Hiro. Ito then lightens up and such. I don't know if I'm going in chronological order anymore, but then she gets a letter. Oh yeah, I am going in chronological order still. I don't know why I'm concerned about that. But Ito goes home. She gets a letter. It's from her mother, and basically her mother saying, oh, hey, how you doing? Are you doing fine? Basically, I've seen your Prism Zeros through the magazines. Your little brother said he wants to see it live. And that your father and you are similar. You and your father are similar, so you're bound to have fights. But if that ever comes to it, you have friends that care about you and, don't let anything get you down. And even if we're far apart, our hearts are still bound together. The next day, Ito is, they're about to, Naru then decides, oh yeah, Odaha-chan, do you want to do the main show since Ito hasn't shown up? But Ito shows up, says that she's sorry. She does her Prism show. She does 3 jumps this time. To the same song, but she does 3 jumps this time. Cool Splash, Jewel Spin Cross, and then the red tie of Summertime Love. There we go. That's the full thing. It was separated into 2 parts, but just wanted to put it together since it makes sense that way. But basically after that, everyone's happy. Kazuki said he was painting something earlier in the episode when he saw Ito earlier, talk to her about, like, he heard about what happened with Hiro, and he's like, he talks about it a little bit. Says he can't let herself get too down. Then we see the completed painting, which looks to be the castle with hippos, elephants, people, and penguins, and rainbows, which is a fantastic picture in itself. Like, it sort of illustrates probably how it's going to be at the end of the series. I'm not even sure. Like, even the designs on the wall might be their final, their sort of semi-final designs for their Prism Stones. Who knows? But hey, who knows what can happen, right? Hopefully. But then Hiro's like, oh yeah, Koji's like, oh yeah, you okay now? Ito's like, sure. And then Naru says, oh yeah, hopefully one day we can have a Prism Live that looks like this with animals, humans, and basically anything else getting along together and dancing. And that is the end of the episode. So again, this was a very good episode. I know I sort of got off track a little bit. But one thing I need to say is I'm in support of Ito X Koji. I really don't mind it being Ito X Koji, Hiro on, and actually on Kazuki, and then Naruhiro. Because, as I've said before, Naru can probably bend Hiro into shape. Not gonna lie. It's not gonna be Bell Hiro, it's gonna be Naruhiro. Because she needs a love interest if the other two are getting a love interest. Again, that has been an episode review. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.